Good evening. Welcome to Metro Focus. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jack Ford. When President Ronald Reagan designated November as National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month back in 1983, fewer than 2 million Americans lived with the disease. Today, that number has soared to more than 5 million people. And 2/3 of those with Alzheimer's are women. And despite extensive medical research, the reason behind that trend has yet to be unearthed. At an estimated $277 billion cost every year, the economic toll of the disease is immense. But the emotional toll on the 1 in every 2 American families impacted by Alzheimer's is far greater. For journalist and author, and a friend of many years, Maria Shriver, the effects of Alzheimer's are personal. Her father, Sergeant Shriver, was diagnosed back in the early 2000s, passed away 8 years later in 2011. Maria's experience led her to found the nonprofit organization, the Women's Alzheimer's Movement. And I am very pleased to welcome her to the program. Maria, it's always so good to see you.
Nice to see you, Jack, and thank you for taking some time to spotlight this issue.
Oh, we're happy to. Let me go back to when your dad was diagnosed. At that time, did you have any idea what that disease really meant for both him and for you and other family members?
None. I didn't realize that all of us would process it differently. It was obviously different from my mother than it was for the 5 of us. It was different for the grandchildren. It was different for people who had worked alongside of him for years. So I think every case of Alzheimer's, as every doctor has said to me, is its own unique case. And I think families impact it individually, collectively, and differently.
I mentioned in the introduction about you, as a consequence of this, founding the Women's Alzheimer's Movement. Why?
Because nobody was focused on women and nobody was focused on why women are getting it more often than men. So I had gone to the Alzheimer's Association when I was First Lady of California and said, I think this is impacting women differently. And I think somebody should focus on that. And another researcher was always said to me, oh, it's just because women live longer. But then they partnered with me and we produced the Shriver Report in collaboration, where we reported for the very first time that this was a woman's disease. So women are 2/3, as you mentioned, of the cases. They're also 2/3 of the caregivers in our country. And as anybody who is involved in caregiving and caretaking of someone with Alzheimer's or another dementia, it's an overwhelming undertaking.
Is it accurate for us to be describing this as a national emergency, a national crisis right now?
Oh, totally. Yeah, talk to any of the people, not only who have it, but the millions, as I said, who are impacted in their families, who are caregiving, who are stopping jobs, who are running through their savings. You put out the figure of what it's costing our country. And that doesn't even mention, as I said, all the unpaid caregivers. So we have a caregiving crisis. We have an Alzheimer's and dementia crisis. We put out an op-ed on World Alzheimer's Day challenging elected officials to put together smart Alzheimer's plans for their state. I'm going to be speaking to the mayors of the country in early November to talk about what they can do in their cities. Businesses need to talk and develop caregiving plans because so many people are working and trying to parent and also take loved ones to doctors' offices. We should be speaking to doctors about diagnosing Alzheimer's and dementia early so people can get in clinical trials. We're trying to reach individuals to tell them to be aware of their own cognitive health, to exercise, to prioritize sleep, to decrease sugar, trying to get into minority communities because this disease is very focused in the Latino and African American communities. So there's a lot of education that has to go on, a lot of awareness that has to go on. But for the families that are knee deep in this and for the government, this is already a crisis. This is a tsunami. This is a category 5.
I want to talk with you about some of those elements that you just mentioned in a second. But I'm curious about your thoughts. If we go back to President Kennedy and his declaration that U.S. wanted to put a man on the moon. And literally within a decade, we did that. And oftentimes you hear people say, especially when they're talking about research for treatment for diseases, hear people lamenting the fact, well, if we could put a man on the moon in less than a decade, why can't we find a cause for Alzheimer's, a cure for Alzheimer's, at least something more than what we have? What do you think the answer to that is?
Well, I think it's a declaration by a president. I think that changes the trajectory of whatever the president declares is an emergency, is a focus, is a mission. So if we had a president who stood up and said, I'm going to increase NIH funding and for Alzheimer's, for cancer, and I'm going to be a science president, I'm going to be a medicine president, I'm going to make it a priority to focus on prevention, to focus on wellness, we would have a different trajectory for this disease. We need increased funding for Alzheimer's, and we need someone to declare it a moonshot. I testified about that exact thing. I used those exact words many years ago, saying, if we put a man on the moon, we can definitely put our minds together and solve this crisis.
Compared to when you first got involved in this, what sort of
Right.
progress do you think we've made? Let's talk medically now. What sort of progress have we made in terms of, let's start with the big picture, which is finding some sort of cure for Alzheimer's?
Well, we don't have that. But we have a lot of people saying, okay, we're going to look now at people who are younger. We're going to look at women. When I started in this, nobody did that, or very few, I would say. But so we're going to say, like, okay, wow, we now understand this is 20, maybe 30 years in the brain. We've got to start looking at younger people. We've got to have younger people participate in clinical trials. We now understand that it might not be a one-stop approach. There's some innovative things going on in that space. We do recognize that the American lifestyle may be a contributing factor. Let's look at that. Let's talk about what we know helps. We know exercise helps. We know sleep is a time for the brain to regenerate. We know that helps. We know that we need to move. We know that we need a Mediterranean diet is helpful. We know meditation is helpful. So when I first started in this space, nobody was talking about any of that. So there are things, there's an explosion, I think, of people who are interested in this space now. People are interested in longevity. They're interested in, wow, medicine can keep a body alive for a lot longer. But what quality of life is that? How do we keep the mind active? How do we continue to learn? What does longevity, healthy longevity really look like? So I'm encouraged, I'm hopeful, I'm not hopeless. And I kind of reach out to people and say, look, this is a personal responsibility. This is a professional challenge. It's a public space challenge. And if we all work together, political parties work together, businesses and individuals work together, and also policy works with that, we can harness this disease. We can wipe it out. I firmly believe that we can do that in my lifetime.
Do you think there are misconceptions out there surrounding this disease that in some way impede
Yes.
certainly
Oh,
our
yes.
awareness, our understanding, and impede how we should be dealing with this disease?
Absolutely. The Women's Alzheimer's, the Bipartisan Policy Institute last year did a poll, and it was really amazing to me that with all the information that's out there, how ill-informed people are. People think, well, if it didn't run in my family, I can't get it. That's wrong. So every single person should be aware that Alzheimer's can impact them. So every single person thinks like, oh, if I have a gene, I'm definitely going to get it. That's not true either, right? Everybody thinks this is something that just is a natural part of aging. Wrong again. People think, oh, I'll worry about that when I'm 80. Big mistake. You should be thinking about it when you're 30. That is really important. Your brain begins to change very early on. How you treat your brain when you're 30, 40, 50 will have impact when you're 60, 70, and 80. I wish I had known that when I was 30. Also, women who are perimenopausal and menopausal, they need to be talking to their doctors because estrogen, hormone replacement, those are conversations that women should be having because it directly impacts their brains.
Well, Maria, I got to tell you that this conversation, the conversations you're having out there, are so helpful, not just to those of us who've lived through the travails and the tragedy of this disease, but for everybody else out there who needs to know and to act, and as you said, to move. It is always a pleasure to talk with you, catch up with you, and thank you so
Jack.
much for.
So nice to see you.
I know. Thank you, Salome. I wish we were sitting in the same room, but we'll do that sometime soon. But again, our thanks to you for the conversation, for all you're doing. You be well, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Jack.